Welcome to Spiritual Psychology. My name's Renee LaValle McKenna, and I bring my 30-plus years as a recovering addict and ex-crazy person turned therapist and shamanic healer to bring you snackable teachings on spirituality, psychology, and all things personal growth. And today I want to talk about healing the child within, known in Western psychology as regression or inner child work, in shamanism as an aspect of soul retrieval, and from a Buddhist perspective, it could be seen as an aspect of loving kindness toward ourself. Most of us spend a lot of time caring for our physical and material well-being. We spend a huge chunk of time working to make money so that we can have a place to live, food to eat, cars and clothes, and other material possessions. We spend time eating, sleeping, exercising, and all that falls in the category of caring for our physical or material needs. And certainly in Western culture, that is seen as a priority. In the modern world, in the information age, many of us now spend a tremendous amount of time consuming information through media, books, you're listening to a podcast right now, music, Netflix, the news. We could see that as feeding our intellectual selves. And that's the second category of how most of us spend our time or expend our energy. So we have physical, mental, and a third category is emotional, and how we relate to or care for our emotional needs, for connection, for love, for self-soothing in our challenging interactions with the world. Humans are social beings. We also have a need for love and belonging, a sense of connection and friendship, community, family, noticing how we care for our social needs. So that could be seen as the fourth category of human needs, social or communal needs. And the fifth main area we need to consider caring for ourselves is spiritually. And that could be seen as our understanding of God, our connection with the larger consciousness system or the universe, our personal perspective on birth and death, but also our own sense of self. For those on the more agnostic or atheist side, what are our higher motivations for service, self-actualization, a sense of progress, and fulfilling our own potential? And we could say there's a lot of other categories in our life, certainly, but we'll keep it to those basic five: physical, mental, emotional, social, and spiritual. And it's an interesting exercise to consider how much time we spend in each of those different areas of our life. I personally find it really helpful to write these things down. Maybe I'll create a downloadable worksheet for that, because this is a really helpful exercise to really assess if there's any areas that I'm neglecting or overcompensating. So when we look at how we spend our time, one of the more neglected areas for a lot of people is emotional self-care. In fact, we're often overcompensating for our physical needs and our intellectual or media consumption as a way to actually care for ourselves emotionally. Because most of us don't even know how to do it. It wasn't modeled for us. It's not a part of our cultural fabric to take time and dedicate energy toward the nurturing development, healing, and maturing our emotional or vulnerable selves. In fact, the go-to resource for most people is drugs and alcohol, prescribed or unprescribed, and caring for our feelings generally looks like medicating or making them go away. And that's unfortunate because our feelings are a really important source of information and personal growth and development. Just like exercise makes our body stronger, feeling our feelings makes us more emotionally resilient and helps us process our life experience so that we can let go of the past and be more present. We can release our worry of the future and live more deeply and fully in what's actually happening in the moment, which is where life really is. And felt experience isn't all about difficult or uncomfortable feelings. It's also about joy, happiness, peace, and cultivating inner strength. I really think we should teach emotional skills in school, but the school teachers and administrators would need to learn the skills themselves. And most of us just don't have them. I know I didn't get that memo. And perhaps the most powerful and direct way that I know for emotional self-love, self-care, and self-regulation is inner child work. And in my experience, it is easily and naturally accessible to everyone. Take a moment and consider yourself as a young child. How is that child feeling? If they're in a setting, what setting are they in? What are they doing? And perhaps the most important question is, what is your relationship with that aspect of your own soul? And healing that relationship with the child aspect of ourself will absolutely transform every other area of your life. That's my experience. In fact, a lot of my motivations in the physical, intellectual, social, and even spiritual realms are motivated by the unresolved emotional wounds and trying to quiet, heal, or distract away from my deeper emotional suffering with the energy and time that I spend in all those other areas. Now, there's tons of other processes and practices to care for ourselves emotionally, but I encourage you to take some time each day and just make room for your own feelings. Doesn't need to be 20 minutes. It might not even need to be a full 5. But take a few moments, put the phone down, come into your body, into your throat, your heart, your belly, your groin, and give yourself a lot of space. And just make room for what you're feeling to make itself known to you. All aspects of ourself hold vital life energy, even if they're wrapped up with pain and fear and suffering. And unwinding that vital and essential life energy from those narratives, from being stuck in patterns or past experience, makes us more whole than we've ever been before. So the work of inner child work, when we sense or feel or imagine those child parts of ourselves, is to go get them out of that place in historic and psychological time and bring them into present time so that we can become our own loving, healthy self-parent. Because our inner narrative, how we treat ourselves, impacts every other area of our life. And our relationship with our emotional self is the primary relationship for our entire life. We are the only person we will be with from birth until death. And we can't get away from ourselves. I know, because I tried. And many philosophies will tell you that even suicide won't get you out of it. That there is work to be done to heal, and mature, and develop so that we can grow and evolve and fulfill that potential and find that joy and contentment that most of us really seek right here, right now. No equipment needed. Now, you might need some help doing that. That's actually why I wrote my book, Allies and Demons, Working with Spirit for Power and Healing, and the accompanying guided audio inner journeys to walk you through that process of self-care and self-actualization in a safe and gentle way. And there's lots of other tremendous work out there. So if you need help, go find it. But it doesn't have to be complicated. In fact, opening to our felt experience is incredibly simple. Not always easy, but it's probably some of the most enriching and beneficial ways we can spend our time. Again, because it impacts and improves every other area of our life. So consider yourself as a 5-year-old child. And your job is to love and care for them in the way they have always needed. Thank you so much for listening. If you'd like to do some inner child work, I will likely be doing an inner child work group online in 2022. Shoot me an email, info@reneemckenna.com, or DM me on Instagram @ReneeLaValleeMcKenna. If you're interested, I'll put you on the list. If you'd like a free download of the first chapters of my book, there's a link in the show notes. And feel free to reach out if you'd like to find out more about my mentorship program or how spiritual psychology might benefit you. Deep gratitude to my supporters on Patreon. And if you like this podcast, please like, subscribe, or leave me a good review. Blessings on your path until we meet again. This is Renee LaValle McKenna for Spiritual Psychology.